What if I told you that sometimes the fastest way up becomes the hardest fall? This is the story of Zoe, a young woman who was given everything she didn't earn and lost it all in a single moment. Zoe was beautiful in a way people couldn't ignore. But what truly made her stand out was something she didn't create. She looked almost exactly like one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Same eyes, same smile, same presence. One day, that resemblance changed everything. At a fashion event in Los Angeles, a talent agency approached her with excitement. "You have something special," they said. Zoe thought they meant talent. They meant resemblance. She was signed quickly. At first, she believed she was stepping into a real acting, career training, auditions, growth. But instead, she became a shadow of her. The agency used her as a stand-in for the star, appearing in events, walking red carpets, sitting in VIP sections. They told the public she was the star's private student, someone being mentored personally. Doors opened instantly. She was invited to exclusive spaces. Brands sent gifts. Opportunities appeared without effort. Her social media exploded, and slowly she stopped asking herself one important question: who am I without her? First, she felt uncomfortable using borrowed power. But comfort is addictive. Attention is even more dangerous. Soon, she enjoyed it. Then she depended on it. On film sets, Zoe stopped acting like a beginner and started acting like she owned the room. She spoke coldly to assistants, snapped at makeup artists, and disrespected crew members. Whenever challenged, she used one sentence: "Do you know whose person I am?" People stayed quiet not because they respected her, but because they feared the star behind her. Zoe mistook fear for power. Then she crossed a line she couldn't see. A young director was casting his first major film. Zoe wanted the lead role, but she wasn't the best choice. Everyone knew it. When he hesitated, she leaned in and said quietly, "If I don't get this role, I can make sure the right people hear about you." The director gave in. Zoe walked away smiling, convinced she was unstoppable. But borrowed power always expires. Months later, the film was released, and it failed. Critics tore her performance apart. Viewers said she looked beautiful but empty, artificial, lifeless. One comment spread everywhere: "She knows how to walk a red carpet, but not how to carry a scene." For the first time, Zoe felt exposed. Still, she refused to accept reality. She blamed the script, the director, the editing, everyone but herself, because the truth hurt too much. She had built an image without building skill. She had climbed without learning how to stand. Then everything changed. 2 years after entering that glittering world, the famous actress suddenly disappeared from public life. No events, no appearances, no influence. And overnight, Zoe's world collapsed. The agency dropped her. Invitations vanished. Brand deals ended. Her social media was wiped. Calls stopped. Silence replaced everything. She went to auditions alone, believing her name still mattered. But no one recognized her. No one cared. At one audition, a producer studied her and said, "I think I know who you used to be around. What we're looking for an actress, not someone else's shadow." That sentence shattered her. She walked out into the street and cried. Not the controlled tears of performance, but raw, painful truth. 4 days, she stayed alone. No cameras. No attention. No illusion. And in that silence, she met herself. She saw a girl who had confused access with ability. A girl who loved the image of success more than the work behind it. A girl who acted arrogant because deep down, she was afraid she was nothing. That realization hurt, but pain does something pride never can. It wakes you up. Zoe made a decision. She sold her luxury items. left her expensive apartment, walked away from the life she had built on illusion. She moved into a tiny basement in New York. It was dark, cold, uncomfortable. But for the first time, it was real. She enrolled in acting classes again this time, not as someone special, but as a nobody. And that's exactly what she needed. She trained every day. Voice, movement, emotion, discipline. She practiced for hours, recorded herself, studied her flaws, and kept going. She learned to listen instead of perform, to feel instead of pretend. Some days, she cried from frustration. Some days, she wanted to quit. But she remembered one sentence. We need an actress, not someone else's shadow. So she kept going. No one noticed her new life. No applause. No headlines. No attention. She took small roles, student films, tiny theater productions, low-budget projects that paid almost nothing. But she gave everything. Even for one line, she built a full character. Because now she understood. Fame can open a door, but only skill keeps you inside. Years passed. Slowly, quietly, she changed. Her voice grew stronger. Her presence deeper. Her acting honest. Then one day, she received a script. The film was called Shadow. It told the story of a woman who had lived under someone else's spotlight so long she no longer knew who she was. Zoe read it in silence, then whispered, I know her. She auditioned him not with borrowed confidence, but with truth built through failure, discipline, and pain. No connections, no threats, no shortcuts. Just her, and for the first time, that was enough. She got the role. On set, she arrived early, stayed late, treated everyone with respect, and worked with humility. The film had no big budget, no massive promotion, just honesty. When it premiered at Sundance, the audience sat in silence at the end, not from boredom, but emotion. Then they stood up and they applauded. Critics praised the film, but what surprised everyone most was Zoe. Doesn't perform pain, one review said. She reveals it. Another wrote, her eyes finally carry something real. And one line stayed with her forever. In her eyes, there is finally a light of her own day. That night, Zoe stood outside in the cold, holding back tears. Years ago, she chased fame, attention, and borrowed power. Now, she had something no one could give or take away. She had become real. Sometimes, the greatest fall leads to the truest rise. When you stop chasing others, you start finding yourself. And sometimes, losing the spotlight is the only way to discover your own light. If you feel like you're living in someone else's shadow, remember this. Borrowed success fades. False power disappears. But the person you build through truth, discipline, and patience, that stays forever. Be patient with your beginning. Be honest about your weakness. And never confuse attention with value. Because the world doesn't need another copy. It's waiting for the real you.